Hi there, this is Callie, here to give you a brief overview of Virtel Web Access, what it does, and how it works. Virtel Web Access is Virtel's base configuration. It functions as a thin client, browser-based TN3270 emulator. It serves 3270 screens as standard HTML JavaScript pages with 3270 emulation ergonomics to thin client devices straight off the mainframe without middle-tier servers. It doesn't get any simpler or more centralized than that. Virtel is typically deployed as a modern alternative for TN3270 emulators such as PCOM, HOD, Extra, Roomba, and Bluezone. Virtel Web Access relies on a thin client, browser-based architecture, which means that the TN3270 applet that TN3270 emulators rely upon is replaced by the client's web browser, to which Virtel Web Access serves a standard HTML JavaScript web page. 3270 application screens, such as those of CICS, IMS, TSO, and other 3270 applications, are served by Virtel Web Access as HTML JavaScript web pages with 3270 emulation ergonomics. Those pages can be rendered by any web browser, running on any web-enabled device. Consequently, Virtel Web Access works instantly with any web client available today or tomorrow, any version of Windows, any Apple product, any tablet or mobile device. The thin client architecture of Virtel Web Access makes for a simple and instant deployment, because there is nothing to install on clients or middle-tier servers. Users simply point their web browsers to an installation-defined URL to reach the logon menu. And the thin client architecture of Virtel Web Access simplifies administration and support because there's nothing to administer or support outside the mainframe, no client app, no middle-tier server, and no Java components. The administration and support are 100% host-based. Unlike traditional TN3270 emulators, Virtel Web Access doesn't use middle-tier servers or Java components. It eliminates the issues typically associated with middle-tier servers, namely additional hardware, software, and support costs, additional latency, which can lead to slow response times, a potential for bottlenecks, load balancing, and scalability issues, additional complexity and fragility, additional components to troubleshoot when something goes wrong, and the usage of TN3270 connections, which most of the time send unencrypted data over IP connections, hence requiring the use of a VPN, which of course comes with additional cost and support requirements. It also eliminates the issues typically associated with Java components, namely additional complexity and fragility caused by the sensitivity of the solution's components to Java levels, and Oracle's deprecation of the Java plugin. The first page that Virtel Web Access serves to users that successfully underwent their logon authentication is an application selection menu. On that menu, only those applications that the user is authorized to access are listed. Applications that the user is not authorized to access are not listed. Applications that are started and available are identified with a green light. Applications that are not available are identified with a red light. The application selection menu, together with the multi-tab capability of web browsers, works as a simple session manager, to the point that some Virtel customers have dropped their session manager altogether. The same application selection menu is served again to users after an application or transaction crash, to prevent the users from roaming free inside the host as they would with TN3270 emulators. Here is what a 3270 terminal emulation page served by Virtel Web Access to a PC workstation looks like. It looks and works exactly like a green screen. The only clue that it is not a green screen is the tools bar at the top of the screen. Now let's see step by step how Virtel Web Access works. 3270 applications, such as CICS, IMS, and TSO, have a screen-based user interface. Screens are served to users via VTAM SNA connections. Virtel Web Access, which runs as a started task on the mainframe, behaves as a regular VTAM terminal. But behind the VTAM relay are a protocol converter between host and web connection technologies, and an IP server which manages the HTTP connections with web users. To generate a 3270 terminal emulation web page, Virtel Web Access inserts the 3270 data coming off VTAM into predefined HTML JavaScript templates. The Virtel scenario and template shown on this diagram guide the transformation process. They are what makes Virtel Web Access behave as a 3270 terminal emulator. With different scenarios and templates, Virtel could convert the screen user interface into a modern GUI, or serve the host application as reusable web or message services. But that's a story for another day. In any case, the resulting web page can be rendered by any web browser running on any device. Now, with a solution running on the mainframe, the question that immediately comes to mind is how much CPU will it consume, and how will that consumption impact the mainframe costs? The answer is that Virtel Web Access consumes just about the same CPU as the TN3270 connectors it replaces. We benchmarked it to be sure. But how come? It's because the smarts of the 3270 terminal emulation are in the JavaScript HTML code of the web page, and that code runs in the client's web browser, not on the mainframe. Mainframe resources are only used to merge the 3270 data coming off VTAM into a predefined web page template, and to send the completed web page to the user via an HTTP server. When it comes to performance, Virtel Web Access typically outperforms traditional 3270 terminal emulators, especially those that use middle-tier servers, because it has a very short end-to-end instruction path. This is achieved by running only assembler code on the host, no Java, and using no middle-tier servers. Note that multiple instances of Virtel Web Access can coexist on the same system, and that Virtel Web Access doesn't have to run in the same partition as the 3270 applications it interfaces with. Instead, Virtel Web Access can run across LPARs on a single system, or across systems in a sysplex configuration. The bottom line is that Virtel Web Access is as fast and scalable as the mainframe it runs on. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you now understand what Virtel Web Access does and how it works. If you want to know more about Virtel Web Access or other Virtel products, please check our video library. Keep your mainframe front and center with Virtel Web Access.